Today's show live right now on the Income Store live video stream at 560theanswer.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy and our friends at Judson University in Elgin have another top flight World Leaders Forum event for the Chicagoland region to enjoy. It's October 8th, 7 p.m., the Schomburg Renaissance Conference Center. Tickets available at judson.edu, and we're pleased to be joined in studio by Judson University President Dr. Gene Crume to discuss this upcoming World Leaders Forum. Dr. Crume featuring
Caroline Kennedy, and she will be interviewed by Eric Metaxas. It'll be the second time that we've had Eric on campus, and he's lively, entertaining, and a really good conversationalist, and we look forward to him engaging Ms. Kennedy.
Yeah, last time Metaxas was on campus, we were on
Right,
campus,
we were.
and we talked to our friend Eric, and that was when he had just put out the Trump children's book, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
right.
that was fun. No, I mean, Metaxas is a dizzying intellect and a fun guy, and so hopefully he'll be able to transfer some of his excess intellect and fun to Caroline Kennedy.
Yeah. Why did you choose Caroline Kennedy this year?
Well, after our experience with Eric, as we were looking through and trying to sort through a variety of speakers to invite, Eric has a program called Socrates in the City.
Yeah, that's great.
Normally at King's College in New York,
Yeah.
and he took one on the road to Dallas, Texas, and he shared with us he would love to bring it to Chicago. So we thought with the platform we already had with the forum, it was a perfect fit, and so far it's going very well. So if all goes well, we hope for this to be a series with Eric here in Chicago with his Socrates in the City program.
Yeah, that's great. The Socrates in the City, if you haven't seen it, go on YouTube or Metaxas' site, check some of them out, because that'll give you a flavor of what the Caroline Kennedy event will be. And he always gets a lot out of his subjects, and that's what makes for, interesting discourse and interesting events. So I'm sure this will be of that kind. And then, of course, you can ask Caroline Kennedy about the prospect of Joe Kennedy being challenging Ed Markey in Massachusetts in that Senate primary.
Exactly, and in fact, her daughter Tatiana supported Markey.
Markey,
Markey,
yeah.
thank you.
Right.
Because he supported the New Green Deal. So in her new book that just came out, she was rather.
Oh my gosh! So this is she's going to
positive
be
in her praise.
torn between Green New Deal and her family.
Such that the Kennedys are in that position.
Wow,
yes,
boy,
I think so.
That's something. So, but Caroline, I mean, going back, just thinking about the other speakers you've had at your World Leaders Forum, and I've been at a number of the events: Condi Rice, George W. Bush, President George W. Bush, Felipe Calderon, former Mexican president. So it's always, I mean, Judson University is a Christian university, but it always spans sort of the political spectrum, which is great. Why Caroline Kennedy? How does she fit into the mission of World Leaders Forum?
Well, we had a lot of success with Howard Dean and Newt Gingrich. And people really appreciated having both sides of a story told, and told well. I think that's the more important part of it. People sharing thoughts and ideas and perspectives, but doing so in a way that's respectful and dignified, and you can actually understand the arguments and the conversation. And so with that, as we were talking with Eric and his folks, on his list, Caroline Kennedy was one of those, and we thought that format of having two different philosophical perspectives would complement each other. And it just seems with our discourse in the country right now, living in a Twitter world, people are clamoring for more dialogue instead of just 60 words or 120 words and
side by side. I really like
Right.
the idea of putting ideas side by side so people can assess them in context rather than in silos. We did this. I mean, I'm not auditioning us, but we did this here last year when I debated Donna Brazile.
Exactly right.
And it was
Right.
fun. And we obviously disagreed on almost everything. But it was fun, and she was cordial and affable, and we had a good time.
And so were you. You were cordial and affable. 'Cause
that's
sometimes it's not
those
the
real-
words to describe you, but it was not a
those really aren't my strong
contentious
suits,
evening.
those
Right.
qualities. But yeah, I tried.
And you've had Tony Blair as one of your speakers,
right.
and Mikhail Gorbachev. So you've had some huge names.
We have,
come
and what's
through.
interesting about our speakers and the names that you just mentioned, one of the criticisms that we face continually is our speakers are too conservative.
Gorbachev.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and Tony Blair, and,
Yeah.
and actually we received quite a bit of that when Tony Blair was on campus, and I think the perspective was they aligned him with George W. Bush on the war in Iraq, and
Right.
they perceived that, but clearly they didn't understand his political policies or his progressive nature.
Yeah.
But I think we've had a great mix of
Oh, yeah.
perspectives and philosophies, and that's what makes the forum work.
And you're not going to get any pushback with Carolyn Kennedy.
Oh, we've already got a complaint.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
and,
tell me.
and so
Tell
our
us about it.
marker really is if nobody complains, we've got the wrong speakers.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
right.
good.
That's generally, I think, a pretty good sign. And so some of our more conservative friends have felt that we're kind of selling out by inviting someone like that to the stage. I guess they overlooked Eric Metaxas being
yeah,
part of the
I mean,
conversation.
yeah.
But we received that on every speaker. The only speakers we haven't, we also have the Inspiration Series. So we've had Mary Lou Retton, Nick Vujicic, people like that. That's the only speaker series on the inspirational side that people seem to have accept because of the nature of it. But
Yeah.
on the forum, when it comes to politics, people take a clear opinion that we're either not doing the right job and we're not inviting the right people.
Well, for the left, if it's not like 15 leftists for every conservative, then that's out of balance. Take a step back and sort of give us some perspective on Judson University's vision for this World Leaders Forum. What was the genesis of it, and why did you think this was important, and this could be something that was a real difference maker and value adder in Chicagoland?
Well, the program got started thanks to a former trustee and alumnus, Kevin No, who lives in Colorado. And Kevin's vision, working with the Board of Trustees, was to invite world-class speakers to campus to serve as a fundraiser to support entrepreneurial activities and scholarships for students. And Kevin did a great job those first several years of working with the program. When I arrived as president, Tony Blair was the first speaker that I encountered, and we decided let's grow this and offer different product lines, which would be the Inspiration Series and now Conversations with Mark Vargas, which is what brought Mark Cuban to campus. And so with that, it's now a separate 501c3 entity with its own board, and it runs complement to Judson. But it really does. It's become a branding identity piece in the Chicagoland area. Oftentimes when I share with folks I'm president of Judson, I'll get a couple responses. They'll ask about the RISE program, the program we have for intellectually differently abled students, or they'll say, "Oh, hey, are you all the one that brings all the world leaders to Elgin?" And that tells you that it resonates with folks and it has helped create awareness.
It's interesting that when people ask about Northwestern or Chicago, that's not something that comes to mind. But Judson University is sort of like, oh yeah, you're the institution of higher learning that's doing higher learning. That's doing intellectual debate on campus, and oh yeah, that's how we can separate you from all the other colleges and universities around here.
So Judson University, for those who aren't familiar with it, what's your student enrollment like, and how is it going this year?
Yeah, we're at 1,225 students. We have about 550 to 60 that live on campus. Programmatically phenomenal.
It's a beautiful campus.
Thank you. We've got a great faculty and staff, and as you all know from being there, 90 acres right on the Fox River, beautiful location. Dan was on campus last week. I was sharing with him. Doing business in the state of Illinois is perhaps one of the more challenging environments I've worked in.
Yeah.
But the programmatic side, what our faculty do, what our students do is pretty remarkable. And, given the size school we are, to have a fully accredited architecture program that is essentially tied with Minnesota for passing rates on the licensure exam for architects ahead of IIT, ahead of University of Illinois, ahead of Notre Dame. We're a school of both and. We're a school both of academic excellence and an opportunity for first-generation college students to go to college.
The doing business in Illinois piece, talk a little bit more about that, because it's one thing for me to recite the data about college-bound high school seniors leaving Illinois. It's another thing for a university president to talk about real-world experiences running a university and trying to attract students to a good school in the region and competing. You're up in Elgin competing, locally, not just in Illinois, but in Wisconsin in particular. What's the result of that? What's the experience? What is that challenge?
Well, I mean, part of the challenge from a business perspective is that the outmigration is real. All the demographics point to by 2035, there will be 15% less 18-year-olds interested in going to college in Illinois. And
It's a huge
that
number.
market share in any industry would devastate an industry, a whole business sector. So finding resiliency to open up new markets, to move into new locations, partner with other schools, do things more creatively. And at times, the state becomes an impediment to that because of the politics. Certainly the MAP funding in years past complicated that a great deal. Legislative mandates, even things that people think that are seemingly innocuous, like increasing the minimum wage and not excluding certain categories of nonprofits, has an impact. I mean, there's only so many student jobs we can offer at $15 an hour, whether people want to believe in those economics or not. And so it's just a matter of working through those. But the economics of the higher education business are not going to get any easier because there's not any organic growth in the market. But we've got a plan and a very resilient campus. And we also have an adult program that's both in Elgin and in Rockford. And for a school our size, we also have graduate degrees and a doctoral program. So we've done a great job with the board and faculty and previous leadership in diversifying who we are as an institution, but staying true to our faith mission and wanting to remain purposefully a small liberal arts college where we focus on things like debate and conversation and helping people grow as a person and intellectually.
And you also have sports teams, too.
We do.
I mean,
Yeah, we have a full complement of sports. I think we play in one of the toughest NAIA conferences in the United States. And
who do you guys play against? Oh, sorry.
we play against Robert Morris,
Oh.
Trinity International, Trinity Christian, Cardinal Stritch. It's a pretty wide footprint, actually. A couple of schools in Indiana. And that's a lot of really good competition. We just added football, so we'll start fall of 21, and that's the Mid-States
Really?
Football Conference. And again, it's a really tough conference.
Dan
but
could be your coach, football coach, huh, Dan?
No, I don't.
Offensive line
maybe
coach?
golf
No.
coach.
Golf,
Golf
You
coach.
know,
yeah.
true
I
Dan
could
be
do
golf
that.
coach.
I could
So
do
you have a
that.
golf team,
We
too?
do, men's
Yeah.
and women's golf team, yeah.
Yeah, I could do that. I think I still have some eligibility too.
You probably
You know,
do,
I
certainly.
might, maybe I'll
It's back to
Certainly if
school
you're
for
interested in
Dan
another
Brown.
master's
I'll be a
degree.
player coach.
Yeah, but
I
well, Amy's
like
got volleyball players, so
Yeah, there you
that's
go.
Pipeline from Chicago to Judson for
exactly,
volleyball. That's
exactly.
right. He is Dr. Gene Crume. He's the president at Judson University. The World Leaders Forum event featuring Caroline Kennedy and Eric Metaxas is October 8th at 7 p.m. at the Schaumburg Renaissance Conference Center. Go to judson.edu for tickets. Dr. Crume, thanks always for joining us. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Dan. Thanks, Amy. Appreciate it.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. On AM 560. The